Good morning and welcome to Studio 5. Halfway through the week. How are we feeling?
Woo! I can hardly wait.
Celebration started already. Friday. Downhill.
Is it downhill from here?
Sure.
Okay. Sometimes the downhill means everything's going down. It means it's going to go in bad.
Oh, no, like a good ride, like coast.
We're coasting. It's going to slide into the weekend. It's going to be great.
Yeah. All right. This month, of course, we want to help you find your voice. That's our theme for the month of February. But to find how your tone is being heard and interpreted can give you an even more powerful voice.
Okay, so here's the scenario for you right here. Okay, a wife cleaning up after dinner asks her husband, "Hey, can you come help me do the dishes?" And the husband says, "Yeah, sure. I'd like nothing more than that," you know.
Too common of a response.
Yeah, but that's what she wants to hear. I'd like nothing more than that.
But not in that way.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem right there.
The words say one thing, but the message can mean something else.
It's all that tone thing. It'll get you in trouble every single time. Studio 5 relationship coach Matt Townsend is here to help turn the tone in our voice to more powerful communication, because it's all how you say it, right?
Woo!
Okay.
Yeah!
What does that say?
That's tone check.
Oh.
Did you? I'm sick.
Yeah.
You can tell.
My tone sounds sultry, but it's not supposed to.
Matt's been analyzing all of our tones.
It's funny. Let me give you a tone example. Let's say we needed a monitor moved in the studio.
Yeah.
My
And
gosh.
Right before you were coming on.
We could just say something like, "Jeff,
Set it up right.
kind
It was
sir,
crazy
could you
and
please
loud.
move the-" or we could say, "Ruff, ruff."
I didn't say that.
Anyway.
I didn't.
See, that's
Jeff,
why.
Did I sound like that?
Jeff.
Did I sound like that?
She did. It's
Oh,
all good.
God.
We're all friends here. We're
All right,
friends. And the
whatever.
coach is here to help. It wasn't that bad. But, see, that's why tone's our friend.
Sorry.
Because
If I sounded like that.
tone communicates. Don't you think more people believe what your tone is more than what you say?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to do the dishes. Do you believe that?
Yeah. Not at all.
Yeah, no. So, tone's our friend. Don't be afraid of it. We got to learn to use it. Most people I found react to each other's tone. When your wife says, "Where have you been?" What happens to the heart rate, Darren?
Yeah, it starts going a little fast. You start getting defensive. You start, because it's that tone.
But her tone could be, "Honey, I'm so worried about you. I need you. Where have you been?"
Oh, that sounds sincere,
Brooke's not buying any of this. So tone's important. One of the things is, too, tone always tells the deeper story. Behind the tone, it's the subtle hidden message. So listen to the tone, pay attention to the tone, and then I'm going to give you 5 keys. There's 5 keys to kind of work through the tone, okay? All tone comes from somewhere. So the first rule is you got to be recognizing the signs. There's certain things that start to create a nuance of tone inside of a conversation. For example, have you ever noticed when you sense the tone's going awry, 3 things are happening usually in the conversation. One is the volume starts to get louder. Have you noticed the volume gets louder? Now, why would the volume get louder?
You're trying to make your point in a stronger way.
And apparently you're thinking they're deaf, so you need to pick up the volume, right? So watch what happens. When you hear volume going up or the pitch starting to go higher, the minute you start hearing the pitch go up, the tone's starting to be affected. So now that should be telling you we have a tone issue starting here.
Pitch is interesting, though, because the voice does get tighter, and
Yeah.
you'd have to stop and think about that, I
Yeah.
would think, though. It's not something you ought to, I mean,
No.
volume you pick up on
It's not.
instantly.
You know what? Here's an interesting fact. Did you know that baby girls have better hearing on certain pitches than baby boys do? Baby girls hear certain pitches that boys don't hear, which would help them recognize tones better, which might be why a lot of women are more adept at picking up tone and the intonation than men do.
That's
Certain
interesting.
pitches. They might also use more pitch. If you notice, baby girls or girls probably use more pitch in their voice than men do. Anyway.
So do women then more likely to get tone worked into their voice then?
Probably. I think they might be more likely to pick up the tone. I don't know if they necessarily always get more tone worked in, but I think they're more inclined to hear it than men are. So watch for the volume, the pitch, and the tempo. Have you ever noticed when you're arguing with something, the tempo starts speeding up? The conversation starts getting faster. Now, to me, those aren't necessarily tone, but it creates a feeling inside of the conversation. Those, to me, are signs that you need to start watching and maybe adjusting. When you start hearing higher pitch, higher volume, or faster tempo, I'd start backing out.
So slow it down, take it lower.
And there's 4 things I would then do. The next rule is soften your heart. All tone comes from your heart. So whatever is the intention of your heart is going to come out in your tone. If your heart is angry, if you're mad at somebody, the rule is you cannot not communicate. We've talked about that a million times on the show. So if you know you have to go have a conversation and you want it to go well, I'd work on your heart. What is your intention of this conversation? Because if your intention is to rip someone a new one, the tone's going to come out.
Now,
You
let me ask,
cannot not communicate that.
Are we talking a little bit more with being the receiver of the tone or the giver of the tone, or is it both?
It's probably both, because if you're giving me some bad tone that I'm not liking, then I need to soften my heart and try to reinterpret what's probably going on here and try to understand, what am I missing? Is there information that I'm missing that he's trying to send me? Or if I'm about to have a conversation with somebody that I know is going to be difficult, I'd watch my heart.
So you're saying the feeling and emotion is being shared on both sides.
And again, so my tone creates your tone tone begets my tone begets your tone. That's how conversations go. That's how they die, too. So we're going to soften our heart, and we're going to center our head. What do you think I mean by centering the head?
Well, for some people it could be.
For you guys, you center it in the screen. About 2/3 of the way up is where we want the eyes.
Center your head.
Yeah, what do you think?
So focused on, I don't know.
Perspective?
Reactivity. A lot of us, the number one point where we get reactive is in our brain. We have a part of our brain we've talked about, I think, before, called the amygdala, which is the fight or flight response. Some of us immediately, if we say something like, "Oh, those cookies are a little dry," and those were your cookies? Oh, now you're dissing my cookies? The minute somebody hears something they don't like, their amygdala might start to react, and they might turn into a fighter or a flighter. When I say center your head, you've got to make sure your head's in the right place. Your heart's in the right place, but your head is so you're not reacting. So I need to start thinking, okay, why would a decent, loving, caring mother-in-law talk about the humidity in my cookie or the dryness of my cookie? And try to see if you can't calm yourself down in your head before you go out and make a problem.
And don't you think the heart sometimes follows the head? So sometimes that head check might come before the emotion check.
Sometimes the head check comes before it, and sometimes the heart. So the heart check could precede the head check, and the head check could precede the heart check.
If you've softened here, this is easy to get centered, and if this is centered, it's easy to soften here.
So it's really interesting. One's much more just about a natural reaction. Your amygdala is very reactive. That's just designed to be that way. But if we don't have our head in the game, sometimes it's better to just not have that conversation. If you know that you're already hijacked and your adrenaline's up and you're having a hard time staying focused, I might not even have the conversation and time it out and come back another time.
Okay.
Yeah. Third rule is alter the mode to alter the mood. Sometimes I found that it's hard to have the face-to-face conversation because it's too combative, it's maybe too close. So sometimes if you just alter the mode that you communicate, it's easier to manage your tone.
Like what?
Emails. If I really had an issue, it might be better to not have the conversation face-to-face. Some people believe all important conversations must be face-to-face. Sometimes, though, if you know you can't control your tone very well, I might send a letter. And I might even look over the letter for 3 weeks before I send it.
That's interesting.
I might even have other people read the letter to check tone. Because that way, if I alter the mode that I communicate, the mood can also be different.
People even say emails, it's sometimes hard because you can't interpret tone. That's the good thing about it. It takes the tone completely out if you have some tone you don't want to have.
Right. Especially if you know you struggle with this. If you know you have a tone issue, and the best way to know if you have a tone issue is just talk to your partner. They'll usually tell you, ah, yeah, your tone's horrible. So watch your tone. And then the last rule is seriously probably the most important. Change what you can. You can't change everything about everything, but you can today work on your tone. You can today work on your speed of your conversation. What I do with my couples that start to have their tone get out of whack, we slow down the conversation to a really slow pace. And it's so slow that it's hard for them to let the tone slip out. But when we're going fast, so you can work on your speed, you can work on your pitch, you can work on your volume, you can also work on the simple words you use, you can work on if you had enough sleep before this conversation, you can work on where your head is, and so you're not hijacked, and you can work where your heart is, so you're thinking the person you're talking to.
And sometimes just being aware of it, as we've talked about it today, makes people aware of their own tone and the tone of other people as well. We got all of Matt's information on our website, so you can check it there. And you got a new date night coming up,
baby.
Right?
Friday, March 12th. Don't miss it. This is taking off. People are loving this. 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Bring your partner. We start teaching you tools to work together. It's at Noah's. It's $20 a couple, and you can call our website there.
Call your website?
Or call our number.
I was talking slow and low, and I wasn't yelling.
Kind of disrespectful, but the tone just slipped it right.
And if you have a question about if your tone's appropriate or not, just ask Matt. He's always willing to tell you. Matt, awesome stuff.
Thanks,
Thanks so much. All right, coming up next, we get a little crafty with ruffled ribbon headbands, how to make them, and a tip on storing your headband stash.
Homemade Italian artisan bread, set it and forget it. We got some easy, savory focaccia bread, plus a dessert variety.
And a little later, is this the ticket to lightening your laundry load?
Studio 5 viewers have been trying the new Bounce Dryer Bar. Their opinion on whether it's good, buy, or not in the Studio 5 Human Lab.